Pardon? Are you telling me to do something already?
No, I'm talking to Sylvia. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody.
It's
so fun. Welcome to another episode of Your Next 50. Ladies, we're here to tell you that it's your time. Be intentional with your choices. Don't waste even another moment hiding in your stories. You can reclaim your personal power and be happy while doing it. And this podcast is going to show you how. I am Sylvia.
I am Jenny, and welcome to Donna Smith. Everybody put their hands together.
Woo! We have a special guest. She is so lovely. You are going to love this episode. Jenny, how do you know Donna before we get formal introductions?
For sure. So let me tell you how I found Donna and how she's become a staple in my life. And then Donna, I'll let you introduce yourself. A friend of mine texted me. I was complaining one day that I had nothing comfortable to wear. This is no joke. And she sent me this text. I think you should check out Miik, MIIK.ca. And I went on the website. And from that moment, listeners, I'm not joking when I tell you I was hooked. Not only did I find clothes, I found a community. I found a group of women that I identified with that understood that looking good and feeling good and being comfortable in your clothes really was possible. And so without any further ado, welcome Donna Smith, and maybe who is the founder of Miik.
Yes,
so celebrity moment here.
No.
And Donna, please tell us about yourself. Introduce yourself to our listeners. Welcome.
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this. This is so exciting. I'm Donna. I'm the founder of Miik. Just to give you a little really brief history is I used to have a graphic design company. I ran for about, oh my God, I don't even want to say how long. So a really long time, 20 something years. And so I was just going along and I loved it. Honestly, absolutely loved what I did. It was a creative thing for me. All I care about is just creating things, being creative. And this was like my niche. I loved working with people. I loved my clients. Everything was great. And then my husband comes home with this crazy skirt. It was it was a bamboo skirt. We use modal as well now, and he was talking about like starting a freaking company. I was like, what are you talking about? I already have a company. Like, I'm happy. Everything's great. Like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, like, try it on. And I tried it on, and I almost want to get up and walk around to show you, because I was in the kitchen. I took it all, what I was wearing, put it on in the kitchen. And I was just walking around so I could feel it against my legs, because I had never felt anything this soft before. And I hated this skirt. And weirdly enough, I found it. I just found it. It was in our basement. We're cleaning everything out. And I was like, oh my God, the orange skirt, I still have it. But anyways, I wore it all summer, even though I don't wear really that color at that time. I hated the style, everything about it. So I was like, okay, maybe you have something here. Like, maybe, like, if I could actually buy clothes that were beautiful in the same fabric, then maybe we've got something. So I kind of just like tried to get him to not even, like, maybe he'll forget kind of thing. But he just kept saying, you should do it. You should do it. And finally I said, okay, I'll give it 6 months. And so I ended up running both my graphic design company and which is called Visual Integrity, and Miik for about 2 years. And then finally realized that I was so passionate about this. And the company that I thought I was passionate about before this kind of just was like, it was new as well, but it was just so fun and so exciting. And there was so much to learn. And I loved everything about the cause behind it. Like, everything about it. It wasn't just clothes. It was all the things behind it. So ended up that, after I think it was 2 years of doing both, I decided that's it. And I'm now obviously.
I think you need to frame the skirt, Donna. You need to put that skirt in the Hall of Fame, the Miik Hall of Fame. It started it all.
Such an ugly skirt. Like, it's so funny because that's how that all started. Wow. And then we ended up continuing. Like, I started off and it was just a couple of us. It was honestly just myself, fumbling along, really, like trying to figure out the business, learning. I always had a feel for fashion. It's kind of a joke. I used to literally, because I have 3 older sisters, I used to put their outfits together every day before we went to school, because I always had this sense of style. But And they all didn't care about it. So they would just say, can you lay out my clothes? So I would go around to everybody's bed and put out their clothes for the next day. And sometimes one would wear it and then the next one would wear what the other one wore the next, like, it was so silly. But other than that, and I designed my own wedding dress. I did a drawing and gave it to somebody and they whatever. So I have, but that's it. Like, that's it, literally. I had absolutely no education in this, no nothing. I had a real passion for it, but I didn't have the experience, and there's a lot to learn. It's not just, oh, you make some clothes. Like, there's so much to learn. So we kind of fumbled along for a long time. We were selling into stores, which was great, but it's a hard business. Like, it's a really like, I remember people saying, what are you doing? Like, I had so many people tell me, this is the dumbest thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
Like, what would make you think to do this? It doesn't actually make any sense, because everyone makes clothes and everyone can make them cheaper than you. And you're trying to do everything here. You're trying to create your own, your own designs. So every year, every season, you have to come up with all this stuff. Then you have to like source all this fabric, and then you have to create it and do it all here. And it all has to be eco-sustainable fabric. So what makes you think this is possible?
Well, it sounds like there's a passion there, and that it was coming out, blossoming, and
I couldn't let it go. I just couldn't let it go. We struggled. Like, we were doing fine, but we were not making any money at it. Yeah. And we just kept saying, oh, it'll happen.
And can I ask, just for context, for our listeners, about how old were you when you founded Miik?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I was just turning 50.
Yeah.
I love that synchronicity there.
Yeah. And for those of you that are listening, we wanted Donna to come on. We're going to talk about her pivot in her business in a second with the pandemic pivot. But I also just want to highlight how exciting, and how if Donna's doing it, you can do it too, right? At 50.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, right. And
seriously, you don't have to. You just have to really want it, I think. Yeah.
And be curious, I think, in learning. If you're listening to this and have a project in mind, we often get boggled down by all of the what ifs and the hows, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing from your story, Donna, which is so inspiring, is that I didn't really know anything, right? But I was curious. I loved clothes. I loved the fabric. Let me check, and step by step by step. You grew this business, which looks nothing like what I'm understanding, and you're going to tell us. It looks nothing now like it did when you started.
No. So that is so true. So when we started, we were basically following all the rules, because I think it's natural when you come into a new business, you think, oh, I'm going to learn from all these people. So our reps, all the stores, they know what they're doing. They've been doing this all this time. So I'm going to learn from them. But what ended up happening when the pandemic hit, so we literally, when it did hit and everything shut down right after my birthday, actually, like 3 days after my birthday, we had just signed a lease. Well, we just bought warehouse space for Miik. So we were like, okay, can we get out of it? Like, we were like, should we be ordering the fabric? Because we were about to put in our fabric order. Should we be shutting down? Like, it was that scary. Because we just figured, well, if we're all going to go into this crazy unknown territory, we don't know whether anyone will buy clothes. Because if you can't go out, will you buy clothes? And just economic uncertainty. Are people going to have the money to spend? Like, there was just, so we kind of went into this, and then we realized we couldn't get out of the warehouse. We thought, well, we're just going to do it. Let's just keep going. We're going to do it. And then we realized, like, so at that time, we were doing all, like I said, following all the rules. So we were, hiring a photographer and hiring all our size 2 to 4 models. And we do these big, huge shoots with 10 people on, like, stylists and you name it, hair and makeup. And we create these, I've got millions of them here, but lookbooks that go out to all the reps that sell to the stores. So there was just a set process that everybody followed. And when the pandemic hit, we were in lockdown. So then how could I hire a photographer or models or anything? So I still honestly remember being on a Zoom call and them saying, so we had a meeting, blah, blah, blah. And just to let you know, we're thinking, we would shoot you. You would just shoot yourself. And I laughed so hard, honestly, until I realized I was the only one laughing. I was like, what are you talking about? Are you actually serious? You think someone is going to buy clothes on like modeled on me? Like that is, I at that time thought I'm not photogenic. I had done like one photo shoot before because I used to be the editor of a magazine, and the guy literally could not shoot me because all he kept saying was your double chin.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
He shot me from above with my neck sticking
Oh
out.
my gosh.
It's the worst photo ever. And this is like when I was like 28 and I had a double chin. It's like whatever. I've always had this. But anyways, so I literally was like, I cannot believe this is what we're doing. But you're right. We don't have anything else. Like I have all the clothes. And so I've got like, I upgraded my phone. I bought a ring light. I didn't even know what they were. I bought a tripod and a little clicky thing so that I could literally stand there and shoot myself. So I was like, thank God I'm kind of the family photographer. In my family, I've always been the one that literally has documented every family event. And I've had a lot of compliments that I'm a really good photographer. So I was like, okay, so I can do this. So I just started to learn to model, lighting, photography, editing, all of that. And I remember the first reaction. I put my book together. I should have had it out here for you. I have to find it. Anyways, the first lookbook that was just me. It was like
just you.
It was me, and it went out to all the, and most of the stores were actually really good about it. But we got a scathing email from one store that said, "How could you lower the perceived value of your brand? What have you done? You're a strong and smart businesswoman. What would make you think that this is like?" And I was like, oh my God. But for some reason, I was like, well, we don't have a choice. And I thought the photos look fine.
Well, I see you on the website, and nowadays, I don't know if it's still the same process. Maybe it's not taken in your office now, but you're gorgeous. You're gorgeous, and I understand it's your staff members that are now. It is. And they're all gorgeous, different sizes. They're all beautiful. The colors. I just love it.
I love this part of my business. I literally now love shooting. Like it's one of the things that I love the most. I get such a kick out of it. We bring in these community models, and oftentimes they've never done anything like this. They oftentimes, because we're shooting every body type and every age, they're self-conscious and they're not sure. By the time they leave, every one of them says, I have never felt more beautiful. I wish my husband made me feel as beautiful as you do. Because shooting, you can bring it out of somebody, and then they look at the photos and they go, wow.
Well, honestly, I'm not a size 2, and I don't, you think you're going to like something and then you get it, but you looked at it on a size 2 person, and I'm not a size 2, and it doesn't look the same. So I was flipping through your website and going, that's more my body type. That looks, I really like that. The way it's full, like that's me,
Absolutely.
And I see more stores doing that now as well.
I know. And I think it's good. I really do, because before they said that it was lowering the, like who we are, and we're a high-end brand, and how do you justify the cost and blah, blah, blah. Which I get. We didn't want to be perceived as Kmart either, or whatever. But anyways, it seems as though that has worked. So that was a huge step, was starting to actually, not only because it was showing our customers, like now what we are hearing is their customers are going online and they're looking for Crystal, because that's me. Like, so that's, and she works with us. And they know that she's about the same height, the same size. And they go, if it looks good on her, it's going to look good on me. Whereas they could never have done that before. Our models are 5'10". Like no one looks like that. Like, it's not a thing.
And for those of you that are listening, they have these wonderful fashion shows. I don't know, maybe you can tell us, Donna, in a sec when they happen, but literally it's like being with your girlfriends there's no glasses of wine, but you put on the camera and they will share with you the clothes, and it's raw, it's unfiltered. How did that come about, that idea?
So that was another one of those things, kind of like the lookbook, is one of our staff had come up with this idea, and they said we should do Facebook Lives. And I'm like the least technical human on the planet. I didn't even really know what that was. And but they said, oh yeah, you're just gonna like show the pieces for the next collection. And I was like, well, I've been doing that my whole, like all this time. Like we would get all the reps together, and I would show them. I'd show them each design so they knew how to sell them. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. I was thinking it's going to be like 10 or 15 minutes, and I was going to have a clothing rack next to me, and I was just going to stand there and go, here's the so-and-so top. So then after I've already committed and everything's out, then they go, oh, no, it's an hour. And, oh, you have dogs too.
Yeah.
So cute. Oh, that's so good. I was worried about mine barking and being all over the place. But anyway, so they said, no, it's an hour and you're going to try everything on.
Oh.
And I was like, what? Live. And what? Like, so anyway, that was another thing. And then that was another whole thing, which also involved all the technology. So it was me having to learn all these things like on the fly, because like, I don't even use Facebook. I was like, okay, so how do I, I'm like, I've got Joe in my ear and she's explaining, okay, click here, do this. So I could do the lighting. I set up. So I've got my, thing all set up, and it's like, because I do it right here. And I was like, that was the scariest part for me, was, is everything going to work? Because we were trying to do Instagram and Facebook, and I had to have everything all lined up. So I'm standing there and then sort out what I'm wearing and all of that. So that actually ended up being, so the first time I wasn't that nervous because I thought there'd probably be the 8 people that I told about it. Like I thought, oh, they'll be literally my family and that's it. And so I'm like talking and doing my thing, thinking no one's on there, and I'm blind as a bat. So I can't see how many.
That's a good thing, Donna, I think, when you're trying something for the first time online.
Yeah, like your phone's so far away. It's just my phone, right? I'm doing it with my phone. So it's like it's there. So I can't actually see who's on there. So I'm just like doing my thing, and I got the music going and I'm dancing. And then afterwards, it's actually Sue, who's my neighbor, and basically she's the CEO of Miik. But she called me and she was like, oh my God, you were so great. And I thought, what? I was literally, no, I had no idea. And then it ended up that we just kept growing and growing and growing, and more people come on. I mean, part of it is people were bored to death and on lockdown. So what do they have to do? But I really think honestly, it was being able to see the clothes on a real person. And I'm kind of average. Like I don't have giant shoulders or small shoulders. I've got boobs, but they're not, you know what I mean? Like every part, I'm kind of just average, an average, 50 something woman. And so the fact that I wasn't, a size 2, and and then we start bringing on, obviously, our guest models. So that really, really helped once the lockdown opened up a little bit. At first I had to do it by myself. So I was like off the screen changing as fast as I could.
But you, Donna, are a very magnetic person.
Yes.
You really draw us in, and there's no doubt in my mind how successful you would be at that. And I think as a CEO of your company, or a president of your company, people want those behind the scenes now. I think that is so out in the open that people want to see where you're doing the shoot, and wanting to see you in your own clothes, right? I mean, that's that visibility into your life. So hats off to you. And I think that curiosity piece, you are a curious person, and I love how your team just puts these ideas in front of you and don't give you all the facts perhaps, and you just go with it.
I didn't have a choice though. No. But it's weird because I always said, I'm not a public speaker. I will never do that. Like they said, oh, you could take a public speaking thing. Well, I even when you and I, like 3 of us talked before, I said, oh gosh, like I'm not going to sound like all these brilliant people you have on that have PhDs and are authors and all these. I'm just going to be myself. I hope that's okay. Because that's
more than okay.
Yeah, but
it's amazing.
But it does kind of intimidate me sometimes. But what I found with this whole situation was, instead of, like, it's interesting to me because when I was a teenager or a young adult, I never really looked at my self, like my body, say, or my looks. I never thought I was very good looking. I didn't look and say, well, I have a small waist. I thought my hips are too big. I didn't say I was nice. Isn't that? I know. And I looked at my legs, and all I thought about was they were so skinny. Like I just wished I had really muscular calves, shapely legs. But weirdly enough, here I am at this age, and I literally do not give a shit. I have never once come on that camera and thought, oh shit, like are people going to like the way I look? Or do I look skinny or fat? Or do I look old or not? I honestly doesn't even cross my mind, because I feel like this whole community that we have built are so freaking supportive. They just say, lovely things. No one's mean. No one says all those terrible things that you always see when you look on people's, Instagram posts, and they're like, and they say all these things. Everybody's very supportive. So I've found it kind of empowering in a way.
Wow.
And it has also made me really appreciate, like, just because before we sold to stores and they had the relationship with the customers.
Mm.
And I just always felt like, it would really help if I could actually see the clothes on them. Like, wouldn't that be helpful if I could design the clothes? Now I'm actually seeing the clothes on every single body type. I'm seeing, so when I'm designing, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great for
So much
Christelle.
easier.
Perfect one for Brett, for Brie. And now when we do our designs, we actually show the whole team. And so we'll say, well, we actually ditched that pant. And one of them saying in our staff is saying, don't ditch that pant. You want to keep that pant? Well, I can't wear that because of my body in this way. You need this pant because it covers your belly and it does this and it shows. And we're like, wow. So we're really like, I'm finding that now we can actually connect with, not only am I able to see what they want, but they're also seeing who we are. So before it was like they'd go and they would buy a top or a blazer. I don't know about you. I'd go to a store and I'd buy something. I don't remember the brand. I just go, yeah, I like this top, like I like this jacket. And then you come home, and unless it was the Gap, if it was, a store that carried multiple brands, which is where we were, you wouldn't even really think about it. Now I feel like people, like when they comment, they know who we are. They know we're Canadian. They know we're sustainable. They know that we are women run. Like, they actually really get us and know us, and they are buying into the whole brand, not just that's a nice shirt.
Yeah, what I'm going to pick up on is that we've bought into your values. We are so committed because of, and I wonder if you could speak a little bit to, the community is almost was a byproduct, but it sounds to me like they're also a driving force. They're almost like an immediate sounding board. How do you keep that? And maybe you could speak a little bit to your team. How do you work with your team to keep them so highly engaged, Donna?
Oh my gosh, we have. I could almost cry if I think about our team. They are unbelievable. We are so lucky that we have got this team. I can't, the ideas that they come up with every day, the shit they get done every day. Honestly, it's like, what are you, a machine? Like, I don't even understand how it's physically possible for you to do as much as you get done, but they have so many amazing ideas. They're constantly thinking, constantly in touch with our customers. I think a big part of it is that I actually now have a team, which is also helpful. Like, Sue and I used to be like, we'd put these, have these meetings and we'd say, these are our list of things to do, but we didn't have anybody to do it.
Yeah.
We were so small and we weren't making any money. So we were like, oh, that's a scary thing to start hiring people before we made money. And the stores were kind of holding us back because we couldn't really like grow online because that was seen as, if we did Facebook ads, as being, a competitor to our stores, which it was. So that was a really, really tough situation when I skipped that stage, which I can go back to if you want. But so now it's like literally our whole business, instead of thinking so much about the clothes, it's about our customers. It's like, okay, now we're doing, like, we have the Facebook group, and I can't remember how many there are on there now, but I remember thinking it was fantastic because we had 80 people on there. Like, what? Anyway, now I forget how many there are, but I think it's at least 1,000. And most of them come on and they watch every time, and they all sell to each other and talk to each other, and they support each other.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, it's such an interesting thing because now we have built this, it's almost ingrained in everything that we do, every part of what we do, because now that we have this connection, you can't just ignore it. It's like, this is like, so when we are deciding what we're repeating or what colors we're doing, we've reached out and we've done polls and we've done like, and what do you guys want to see? So it's in every possible way. And now once we open up, hopefully at some point we're going to open up, and that we'll be able to even do some events at our warehouse space and actually get to meet more of these people and do more. I want to do more customer modeling and like have more people on there. We just keep getting shut down. So as soon as we arrange to have some people in. And
I love the energy, right, Jenny? It's this, the community gives your team energy and gives you energy, and you bring it back to them. And
it's so true.
it just keeps going, doesn't it? There's like, it's not, there's no blockages. If I just may ask a question, so you are no longer in stores? You are, you've taken that piece back and you are only online?
My whole vision when we started was it had to be Canadian made. So we would make everything here. It had to be eco-friendly and all the everything behind the ethical. So basically the opposite of fast fashion. So part of all of this was we just assumed, again, like this is what you do. You go in stores, and then it's people going into those stores that get to touch and feel the fabric, and they'll go, oh my God, I love this. And then they'll buy more. And so it never crossed our minds that there would be a time we wouldn't be in stores. We had a very good relationship with all of our stores, as you can imagine. And all of a sudden, when like the pandemic hit, they were shut down. They had no way of selling their product. Some of them actually were great and pivoted and started, selling stuff online, and they figured out ways to keep it going. But a lot of them were struggling. So we were either getting like the whole order returned and canceled, or they just weren't paying us. And so we realized, boy, this is actually really and then that actually started us to look at our numbers, and we realized that our margins, because things had been creeping up, that our margins were never ever going to really support just being a store,
right?
Like a retail. It was just like, no matter how much we increased our sales, our margins were not high enough.
Right.
And that is just due to the cost of how much, it literally costs so much more to produce here. We don't do a lot of it's almost like shaming, but some companies say, what's happening to this workers in Bangladesh, the age of 6 and blah, blah, blah. And that's what we try not to do that. We try to say more about what we actually do here and not really do that. But that's really what's behind all of this is it's impossible to create a $10 or $20 t-shirt without somebody paying the price. It's either the quality is terrible or somebody is doing this that is not being properly paid.
It's funny, Donna, because I have a 14-year-old and she is so anti-fast fashion. The next generation is so committed to quality, and they shop at Value Village. And I want to pick up on a couple things that you'll notice if you haven't shopped at Miik, MIIK.ca yet. Couple things you'll notice. So your first purchase, there's a place on the checkout where you can offset your carbon footprint. Love it. Just those little bits that really differentiate.
And everyone does it.
It's so true. What's your ratio? Yeah. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. And the other thing you do really well, and because we're a show about owning your worth and owning your value, is you really have a beautiful story and explanation for why your pieces cost more, but what you're getting for the pieces. And I'm going to paraphrase, and maybe I'll let you, better yet, let you explain. One thing that really struck me was that you have shirts that you tested from 10 years ago, from when you first started, that are you still wear. Maybe you can speak to your value add and how you position your brand and your pricing, because they're not I
know, that's the thing. It's not we wish we could do it cheaper, but just to buy the fabric is more than what a lot of these fast fashion brands would be to actually create the whole garment. So what we're doing is literally trying to educate people that you can buy that same t-shirt for $10, but it's going to wear out. And I know I have, honestly, there was at that exact time before, if I go back to when I was thinking that maybe we should shut this down, I literally thought, what am I going to wear? Because at one point I had another one of those moments, doubts of, I think we all have moments of doubts, where I said, you know what, I'm freaking going to, and I went to Yorkdale and I walked around the mall and I went into every store and I went, there's nothing out there for me. There's nothing out there for me. It's all young and it's all super, I'm going to look like a moron walking around in this little short skirt or whatever it was. So it's all young. Or I felt like this is what my mother used to wear.
Yes, that's so true.
I don't want to wear this tailored thing. I just want to look like this. I just want to look kind of really comfortable, and I want to look like I look put together, but I don't want to look like I tried. Like I don't want to have that, because I've never been one of those people that really cares that much about how I look.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like I didn't do my hair and makeup, and I've never done my nails or any of that stuff. So it was just, I just wanted to have this sort of put together look, and there was nothing out there. And it was either like cost a bloody fortune or cheap. And so I decided I was going to buy. So I bought 10 things, came home, and I was like, okay, these are all not bad, whatever. And they all wore out. I wore them in my price range, that mid-range where Miik is. And they all still, they were bald, or they bald pilled. And they would like lose their shape. So the top, and I remember literally taking pictures on the floor of my bedroom and going, I have to keep going. Nobody's doing this, and it needs to be for me. Like, and there's so many people like me.
Yes.
That don't want to, like, they're not the fashionistas and have to have the latest thing. And you know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to be. So anyways, the thing going back to that is that we literally, if you buy a t-shirt or a top or whatever it is, a blazer, and you can spend a quarter of the price, but you'll still be wearing it 4 times longer or 10 times longer. So I look at my wardrobe and I think, oh God, you know what? Like I actually have, because I keep getting stuff from each season, and I don't wear anything else except for jeans. I literally have my whole wardrobe except jeans and scarves are literally Miik. That I have stuff from season 1 that I'm still wearing, because we're also not creating things that go out of style.
I was going to say they're classic pieces. Yes. They're not the trendy.
And it seems weird because sometimes like a piece will sell out in one of our Facebook lives, and I'm just thinking it's just a top, but it is a beautifully fitted top.
Yeah.
It has enough style to it that it makes you go, wow, I really feel good in this. But you know it's going to last you forever. And I literally have, like, I have a section in my closet that is all my workout tanks, and they're season 1, all of them. And they are
nice.
They're still, and because bamboo actually takes to the dye better than, like, say, cotton, for an example. So the colors are more rich and saturated, and they hold the color. So you don't get that sort of faded black legging. What all my leggings looked like before. All my black, everything was always, I used to have drawers full of stuff that just, I keep wearing it and then I finally throw it out. But it was like, it looked faded, pilled, and terrible. So, but if you can, and it's not that expensive what you're buying, like you can still buy a long sleeve top for under $100, but if you're going to wear it for literally, and it's not going to go out of style, that's a huge part of it. And I think that I would say though that the main thing for us is probably how soft and stretchy everything is.
And I was just going to ask, could you tell us what the material is? Because I can talk firsthand. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can know that I'm wearing some Miik stuff. I can't really describe it. So maybe you can describe how soft it feels.
It's like, there's like, people often describe it as buttery soft. It's like there's I feel like you have to touch it. But if you have like a regular shirt or a hoodie, that's a cotton hoodie, and then you hold up a Miik piece, there's an expensive luxe drape to it. So the look of it, you can tell just the way it hangs and the way it drapes is just, you can tell it's beautiful. And it seems like, we've even had people comment and say, you need to up your photos and your stuff, because when I got my package, it's even more upscale and more luxe than you sell it as. So that's a huge compliment to us, probably an insult at the same time. But
is it bamboo? What is it?
Yeah, so so a lot of other companies use bamboo with a mix of cotton or something else in it, like to stabilize it, or it's cheaper to do a blend. Ours is just bamboo or just micro modal, and then it's mixed with the lycra, to spandex lycra, to keep it so that it's got the stretch. So that is what is literally everything. Because honestly, it's the softest thing, so much so that when we're in meetings, like we've been doing this now for 10 years, and we're in meetings and we're like, oh my God, this is so soft. What are we talking about? That's all I wear. But I still, excuse me, honestly cannot believe how soft it is. And then we became kind of known. We were first known for our leggings, and they're like, they hold you in, and that whole like getting rid of your muffin top and smoothing you out. I don't know if you've seen my lovely ads where my nice belly gets shown. I've had a lot of people say, I cannot believe that you do that. Like, why? I don't care. That's what I look like. Who cares?
Great.
But then it was literally one of those meetings. We were with our sales reps, and I said, I really want to do a blazer. If we could conquer a blazer, because that's the most uncomfortable piece of clothing in everybody's wardrobe. And I don't wear them because I can't wear anything that's going to pull and whatever.
Yep.
And they said, we can't do it. Can't do it with that. And it's like, you're working with a jersey. You can't do that. So I was like, yeah, but can we at least give it a try? And I literally drew, I don't know if you've seen my ad, because I talk about it in one of my ads. I drew it right on a napkin in our, because I used to be an illustrator, so helpful. And I drew it on a napkin, and they said, okay, we're going to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the blazer you're wearing right now, your Emily blazer. And we just put fusing in with it so that it has that tailored look, but the back doesn't have fusing in it. So it allows for you to move.
Yeah.
Like I get home from work and I'm wearing my, Sienna blazer or my Emily blazer. I forget I'm wearing it. And I find I'm still watching Netflix and I'm wearing my blazer. Like who's wearing a blazer on the couch? Like nobody. So that has been huge. And now we're kind of known for that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, some of those anchor products, that idea of some anchor quality pieces. Yes. I have so enjoyed this conversation about the places we went. For our listeners, and in a minute, I'm going to ask you a question, Donna, to close us out. But for our listeners, there will be a special code for you to follow up in the show notes. We're so grateful for Donna. I feel there's some synergies with our community, Your Next 50 and Miik. I just feel that in my heart. Yes. So much of what you said today resonates with me personally, and I know with our audience, just being yourself. And I loved your comments about your muffin top. I call it my mini Emma. That's what I call my muffin top, which is my first baby's name. She would be mortified if she heard that on the radio. I hope she never listens to this podcast. But a question for you, Donna, and I like to ask this at the end. What will your next 50 involve? And tell me where you're going, I guess is my question.
Oh my gosh, that's a crazy question. So it's weird because I didn't even see myself being here. Because if someone had asked me this 10 years ago or before I started Miik, I would have said, oh, I'm just, going to slowly, retire, blah, blah, blah. I can't see myself not doing this. I've always been a little bit of a workaholic. I would say that what I really want is I want this to keep building so that Miik is a household name. I would love for people to know Miik and Miik be sort of the thing that the bar that everybody wants to hit. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, probably my biggest thing would be so that I'm not quite as much of a workaholic. Yeah. I just find I love it so much that I have a hard time letting it go. That's why I'm so
that passion and that joy, you infuse that into your business, and I think that's what keeps us going when we love our businesses. So it's not like work.
True. Yeah, it doesn't feel like work. It never does. Like it's always, and I really love the whole community that we're in. Like not just I love my staff. Honestly, everybody that works with us is huge. I can't imagine not having them part of my life, but the whole community. So I feel that I will always be involved with it. But I think I'll probably back out a little slowly over time, where I won't be have my hand in so many things, and I'll be just doing the things that I'm really that's my passion and the things that I'm really good at. Because when I face it, I literally, there's so many things that I have my hand in, but really I'm not that good at. And everyone else is so much smarter and so much better at that. I'm just kind of there, and I might have my little cute idea or whatever, but so I think that would probably be where I sit. So I have more of a work-life balance, because I would say that's the one thing that I'm not that good at. I'm better at it. I used to be worse. I'm much better, but yeah. So I don't know if that's a good enough.
Great answer.
It's a great answer. There are no wrong answers on that question.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer.
Oh, thank you so much, Donna, for sharing your wisdom with us and your story. You are definitely a woman playing big. And please, when you're listening to this, go and take a look. miik.ca, miik.ca. I'm going to jump on a fashion show on Facebook Live at your next one. I am there.
Maybe you can be one of our next models.
Oh. Jenny's hopping up and down. I think Jenny would like to be a next model.
That would be a
We'll
dream come
both do it,
true.
Jenny. We'll
Oh
both
my
do
gosh.
it.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh,
Both
that'd
do
be
it. We
so
would have so
great.
much fun, Donna.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Thank you so much for inviting me. This was so much fun.
Oh, it's a blast. It's a pleasure. The energy is going all around. And so what have we got coming up there, Miss Sylvia? What are we working on for next week?
Next week, we are coming on and we're going to talk to you about how to up level your boss, how to turn your boss into your best boss ever. Someone like Donna.
Oh,
I was
I
going
gotta
to say,
hear that one.
maybe we need to get Donna's team on for the advice on that one. And so, but all of, always with this lens on self-improvement, this lens on how can I show up even better every day? How can I commit to myself, right? Because a lot of times we put our boss, it's the boss's approval we're looking for. So we're going to kind of break that down next week and talk more about that. And hope everybody has a great week. You can always find a new episode on Wednesdays we drop. Please do, if this was something where you're like, you wanted to send this podcast to a bestie who's looking for something inspiring, please do share and always we so appreciate your support. Just like Donna's community, we so appreciate the feedback and the ideas from our community of Your Next 50. And it's a pleasure to be here every week with you guys.
Now, we don't do fashion shows, Jenny, but we do cocktail happy hours. And we do have drinks on that one. So whoever you're listening, you want to come and join us. Those are the last Thursday of the month. Please come and say hello. Well, it was a pleasure, my friends. Thank you so much again. And we're going to catch you next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Donna.
guys. Bye.